What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few cards. Some are moving up, some are coming back down. I also want to just give my take on where we are in terms of the card market, not the sealed product side of things, the individual cards, whether they're from mainline sets or they're just promo cards. And I know a lot of you guys are interested in cards related to the TCG, the meta, how that shifts, cards going up and down in price. That's not really the thing that I want to cover on this channel. It's not something that really interests me that much. There will be sometimes it shows up, and there will be times where there is also overlap between cards that are meta relevant that I also think could be interesting investments. But for the most part, I want to look at cards that people are probably looking at in terms of it being a decent investment. So if you're here for meta relevant stuff, you're probably not going to see a ton of it in this video. And we are going to start this off with NAMI. This is from PRBO1. This is up around 15.5% over the past month. It's actually been difficult to find cards that have moved up throughout November. A lot of cards, they kind of peaked late October, and over the past couple weeks, we've seen those cards either level out or even come back a little bit in price, and you'll see a little bit more of that later on in this video. But this is a solid NAMI. Her with her tangerines, I'm sure that some people who like to collect NAMI cards, this is probably going to be one of those that they try and fill out in a binder. It's nothing super crazy, 20-ish dollars. I think that's a fine price to be paying for something like this. Could it be more in the future? Yeah, potentially. If we get a lot more people coming into the hobby that become NAMI fans, want to collect these cards. PRBO1, I highly doubt that we get more of that on the market. So there you go. Could be a decent long-term option. I'm not saying that I would invest in it, but I know a lot of people who watch these videos are more bullish on the individual card side of things than I am. So there you go. That's one option. After that, another interesting card here from PRBO2 is the Shanks SP. Pretty new card here. It's up to around $97. I'm not sure if this has any level of playability to it either, but sitting around $100 kind of makes sense. It is a pretty decent artwork. It is Shanks as well. Fairly popular character there, and it's up about 15% over the past month. Now, a lot of the other cards you're going to see here are actually Ace and Luffy cards. Obviously, the Wanted poster, everyone's been talking about this. It's up to around $500 USD, which is a massive jump from when it initially kind of released or some of the pre-release sales that we were seeing. It has leveled out in that 500-ish range though. I still think a lot of people are overhyping this card for what it is as an era card. I know that there have been some really interesting era cards in the past. For example, the pre-errata Luffy and Law and Nami and some of those cards from Romance Dawn that are very expensive now. But when you look at some of the more recent ones, for example, the Vegapunk era card from EBO2, it hasn't really seen crazy appreciation in price. So I wouldn't be buying this card at $500 in the hopes that it jumps up to like $1,000. I just don't think that's going to happen. It could in the future for sure. Again, the beauty of these era cards is that they are going to be a lot rarer, and it is an Ace card. It's also a Wanted poster SP. So there are a lot more things going for this compared to some of the other era cards, but I just don't see it being one of the top places you could put your money over the next year or so. Maybe long term, 5 years down the road, it's a decent investment, but I still don't feel super confident in it. Now, another Ace card that's been running up throughout November is this promo from the gift collection 2023. This is now up to around $14. About a month ago, it was around $9. It's up $52, or excuse me, 52%. $52 would be crazy. 52%, which isn't terrible. I still don't view cards like this as great investments just because they are fairly cheap. And when you have to factor in your time, taxes, even just shipping costs, right, to get rid of something this cheap, I think it's just not really a great place to be putting your money. Try and focus on buying cards or sealed products that are worth more, right? Over $100 is something I generally recommend. If you want to go a little bit cheaper in like the 50 to 100 range as well, that can definitely work out. But buying cards that are like $5, $10, even if they double in price, it's not like you're making 100% on your money after you factor in your time, actually moving the product, shipping costs for an envelope, etc. So moving on, we have, I think, like 4 or 5 Luffys on the list here. This is a promo card from Winter Pack Volume 1, I believe, and this is up about 23% on the month, sitting around $25. I think this is a cool artwork. It's definitely not my favorite Luffy, and I'm personally not a huge fan of all the stamps on these cards, but I understand that is something that a lot of people are interested in. If we do the 6-month chart here, it's up around 80%. This was a $14 card, and I think if you do the year chart, even a little bit more impressive. It was down to around $12 in January, so basically a 100% return if you bought this in the new year. And obviously we have to talk about the Luffy Dodgers promo. This is up to around $850 on TCG Player. That's a 53% gain. But when you come in here and look at recent sales, you're around $1,100, $1,200 over the past couple days. And I'm going to be honest, I really don't see this card ever coming back down to around $500-ish where it was back in early October. I think we are going to see this around $1,000. It may even continue to climb. Maybe it comes back down in the short term, but I think this is a card that a lot of people have their eyes on now, not just from the World Series, but also because it is illustrated by Oda. It's a Luffy card. It's one of the rare sports promos that One Piece has done. In my opinion, it looks a lot better than the BVB collaboration. I just think there's a little bit more going on in the card. So for me, this is definitely my favorite sports promo that One Piece has done so far. Couple other Luffys here. This is the SP from OP13. This has continued to climb after pre-release sales. We were sitting around 145. We're now up to around $175 on TCG Player. And if you come in here and look, most recent sales, we've had 4 today, 201, 200, 205, and 210. So the past 4 sales moving up slowly towards around $210. Probably going to level out in this range. I also wouldn't be surprised as well as more of these come to market if it comes back down into the mid, I don't know, like 100, 150-ish range. I think that's entirely possible as well, but I am a fan of this card. I think it's a beautiful artwork. Here's another Luffy promo. This is from Bandai Card Fest 2023-2024, I believe, and this is sitting around $12, $13 on TCG Player, up 82% on the month, almost 83%. This was a $7 card, now going for almost double that. If we do the 6-month chart here, this was down to around $2 in June. So if you're one of those people loading up on these at a couple bucks a piece, you've probably done well with these, even if you're selling them to like a local game store at 70%. You can see here too, in mid-October, there was about 96 of these that sold within like maybe 5 or 6 day window there. And it has leveled out a little bit in this like 12, 13-ish range. So I probably wouldn't be buying this card. Now I will give my opinion kind of just on the general market once we get through a lot of these here, but that was the second to last Luffy I think we're going to see on the list. And then this one here is another Monkey D. Luffy. This is from Winter Pack Volume 1, and this is up to around $27 on TCG Player, up 103% approximately over the past month. This again is a card that I probably wouldn't be buying at this price right now, but there was one sale on the 9th for $40. It doesn't sell too often on TCG Player. I would imagine that the next sales we see probably aren't going to be in the 40-ish range. They're probably going to be somewhere between $25 and $30. But again, this is just another obscure Luffy promo that was somewhere between like 10 and 15 bucks that people thought was undervalued and they decided to load up on them. And speaking of cards that were undervalued, I think we do have to touch on the treasure rares in this video. For example, the Sanji, it's still up 44% on the month, but you can see here, this card went from being around $15 up to almost $40, and now we're back down to around 20, 21. If you come in here and look, recent sales, maybe a little bit higher, pushing towards like 25, but a lot in that 20-ish range. So you can see it's pulled back a lot from its high a couple weeks ago. The Ace, a fairly similar graph here, went from around $15 all the way up to around $50, and now we're back down to around 35, with recent sales actually being a lot lower than that. You can see here over the past couple days, $14.99, we had a few sales, one at 25, one at 40. I think it probably averages out somewhere around like 20-ish dollars. And the Luffy as well from Two Legends, this was up to over $100, $125 at its peak. We're now selling around 90-ish bucks. And you can see here, there's actually a listing near mint copy, $46.99 plus $5 shipping. So someone's basically asking $55 for this card. There's also a lot of other listings in the $59, $60-ish range with shipping included. So this card has lost about 50% of its value from the peak a couple weeks ago. A lot of these have been getting pump and dumped. And this is exactly why I tell people when they ask me, you know, should I sell a card? It's gone up like 300%. I don't know what to do with it. If you don't know what to do with a card, the best bet is probably to sell it, especially if it's run up to 300% within, I don't know, like a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day period. Even if it's been over a year and it's gone up to 300%, that's often going to be a good time to secure some profits and just take a little bit of volatility off the table. Because again, as I say all the time, I'm not smart enough to know which card is going to do the best. I'm definitely not going to get on here and point out like a bunch of really expensive cards. For example, I know a lot of people are talking about the treasure campaign packs from OP13. Everyone's talking about this Luffy, which was up to around $1,000, $1,200. I know some people were saying that, hey, $1,000 for this card, pretty good price. If you look at TCG Player, recent sales over the past 48 hours, a lot of them in that $875, even down to $850. So you really do have to be careful with where you put your money in this hobby. And again, that's why deflationary assets like sealed product, you can't really go wrong. I mean, if things in the short term don't perform that great, you just got to give it a little bit more time. Whereas if you buy in super high on a card, for example, like this treasure campaign pack card, and there just is no demand for the card 2-3 years down the road, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's ever going to recover even 10-15 years down the line. That's why a lot of vintage cards aren't really worth anything to this stage, just because nobody actually wants them. So you do have to be careful when you're buying the individual cards. And speaking of the treasure campaign pack, because I know that these individual packs, at least on TCG Player, it says $15. Realistically, these are probably like 12, $13. TCG Player tends to be a little bit on the higher end. You can find deals on Facebook and even on eBay as well. Outside of this Luffy, everything else is absolutely worthless. You're in like the 30 to 40 cent range. I think the most expensive card outside the secret Luffy is going to be this one here, which is like $1.50. So if I end up getting my packs from HPW when they send me my product, I'm probably not going to open any of these. I'm probably just going to hold on to them. And that'll kind of be my hedge in case this Luffy does continue to rise in the future. If I have those sealed packs, even if this card goes to $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is, right? And I'm not saying that that is going to happen or even likely to happen in the short term, but if it does, and I have those packs, I'm going to be able to sell them for more in the future. So that is my plan. But if you got them for free, right, with your box purchase, and you want to just gamble and try and pull this Luffy, absolutely feel free to do that as well. Just remember that when we are opening product, you're doing it for fun. It's not as a means to invest and to make money. That's just not how it happens. Sure, you can get lucky from time to time and get an awesome hit, but if you continue to open product, right, if you do enough volume, you're not going to come out ahead. That's just how things work. And that's something I hope basically anyone who enters this hobby does recognize and understand, because if you don't understand that, you can get into a lot of debt. I've seen people open a ton of booster boxes trying to make money and get good hits, and it's sad to watch, honestly. So just be smart with your money, guys. I know it's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, but I think we're probably going to see a lot of cards start to go sideways or give back some of their gains over the next few months. And I'm sure there's going to be some people that take this time to prioritize getting out of some more singles and slabs that they don't want for the long term and putting that money maybe into higher dollar slabs like BGS 10s or black labels, or maybe into some sealed products. So with all that said, if you guys got some value out of this video, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below for the algorithm. It really does help out a ton getting these videos pushed out to more people. Also, if you are shopping eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, Cardboard Hero, I do have affiliate links down below. Free and easy to use. All you have to do is click on it before you do your shopping. I'll get a small percentage of the sale at no extra cost to you. So it's a free and easy way to support the channel. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you guys are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.